Aloha, welcome to Myanmar Today. I'm Henry Zin. We've got the latest news and reports. For all of us who are worried about the economy in Myanmar, we're going to look at COVID-19's impact on Myanmar's economy. Yangon Stock Exchange has 5 listed companies, but now a 6th company has received approval. A story coverage on the French Institute and the French Embassy's celebration for Women's Rights Week. We'll get to the reports in a while, but before that, let's take a look at the local news. Religious titles were presented to honor the Buddhist monks, nuns, and lay devotees for 2020 on the full moon day of Dabao on Sunday at the Sasana Mahabhaitman in Upadasanti Pagoda compound in Naypyidaw. President Win Myint and First Lady Do Cho Cho and State Councillor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi led the congregation to present honorary titles and offertories. President Win Myint presented the title of Abhidheja Maharata Guru and other requisites to the presiding monk of Chowdown Monastery in Myenjan Township. The State Councillor also conferred the title of Abhidheja Maharata Guru on the leading monk of Bangweyong Monastery in Madao Town, Yonglebin Township. Vice President U Min Sui and Vice President U Henry Van Theo presented similar titles to the renowned senior monks. Amuda Luto Speaker Mawen Kain Tan, Union Chief of Justice U Tun Tun U, Commander-in-Chief of Defense Services Senior General Mayon Line, and Chairman of Constitutional Tribunal of the Union U Myo Nyon offered Abhidheja Agamaha Satama Jodiga titles and accessories to the monks. For 2020, religious titles were conferred on 322 monks, 24 nuns, and 50 male devotees and 91 female devotees. Union Minister for Ministry of Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement, Dr. Win Myint A, highlighted that the ministry is reaching out to the people and providing their social needs. People's participation and involvement are important in this regard. Volunteers take leading roles to do good, not only for themselves but also for others, since they are closely related. They also strive for a better society. The minister also informed that the maternal and child cash transfer program will be carried out within Ayeyarwady region when he met with the town or village-based volunteers from Piapo and Dedaye, who will be participating in the implementation. At the meeting, discussions were made on matters regarding registration of entitled pregnant women and under 2-year-old children, nutrition, personal hygiene, family health care, other services and provisions by the ministry, and information about natural disasters. 3 returnees from an IDP camp in Bangladesh were taken to their place of origin after officials provided them aid on Sunday. 1 man and 2 women of a family were accepted at the Tambyo Letwe Reception Center in Mount Dor Township, Rakhine State on Saturday. Immigration officials issued national verification cards to the returnees. They were provided with healthcare and aid and were taken to Lapo Khaung Transit Center on Sunday. At the transit center, officials provided them rations and other necessary items. The 3 returnees were then taken to the Ganyantan village in the township and handed over to the village administrator. That's all with the local news, and here's the first report on Myanmar Today. As the impact of COVID-19 on the economy has been resulting in a chain reaction for most of the country in the world, Union of Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry decided to hold a meeting with other related international organizations and chambers of commerce on prevention of certain risks on the chain impact. The press for the meeting was held last week on the 5th of March. David Tanner has the details.
As COVID-19 has now been affecting the global economy to some degree, directly production by creating supply chain and market disruption, and by its financial impact on firms and financial markets. Union of Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, UMFCCI, is working in collaboration with other international chambers of commerce such as Eurocham Myanmar, India Myanmar Chamber of Commerce, Thai Chamber of Commerce, German Chamber of Commerce, China Enterprises Chamber of Commerce, and Garment Association in Myanmar, etc. With that said, U A Win, who is Secretary General of UMFCCI, told the media at the press conference regarding the meeting.
As we have been holding the regular meeting with the relevant organizations discussing how COVID-19 could impact on Myanmar's economy and the circulation of CMP businesses. Even at the present time, tourism economic sector has been obviously declining, as the worrisome situation of the virus has been ascending and some areas being quarantined. And as everyone might know for now that the fruits and agricultural crops we usually export to China has also been interrupted and on break. Moreover, we have also been affected in a passive way as well by the international countries' situations in financial impact on firms and financial markets.
Dr. Kang Kai-nwe, who is Joint Secretary General of UMFCCI, also told media about what kind of topics did the meeting prioritize the measures that the relating organizations will be taking. Let's hear it out.
For the current situation, we have prioritized the situations of the factories which might run out of raw materials in the period of the last part of April in the meeting. Moreover, we have also discussed the scenario in which COVID-19 can't be quarantined, and if the situations get worse, the issues could cause harm until May to July, and that's why we also discussed about how we should take measures for those kinds of situations as well. We have also in-depth discussed about how COVID-19 issue could also impact not only the CMP's related economics, but also other SMEs and how we should be cautious about it as well. For the current situation, we have prioritized the situations of the factories, which might run out of raw materials in the period of last part of April in the meeting.
Regarding the rumors of the factory shutdown in Myanmar relating to the impact of COVID-19, the current situations of the factories in Myanmar and why verification is the key in presenting these issues will be delivered by U Mamao, President of Confederation of Trade Union of Myanmar.
For now, there is only one factory that has been officially confirmed to change its validity and is presented to Myanmar Investment Commission. Even though it's confirmed, we need to consider its situation on. Will the factory be open in another area? Will the shutdown only be temporary and all sorts of other concerns? That's why what we shall do is to verify the factory's condition and its facts. And the media also need to confirm the cases of all those invalid news of the factory and its situation relating to the impact of COVID-19. Therefore, we will only let the shutdown of the factory if it's transparent enough and are confirmed to be unable to circulate the work floor. And it's already agreed on the consequences of the majority of the workers' perspective and their workers' right. With all that being said, verification is the key for everything, and we won't let the companies and factory to use the impacts of COVID-19 in uncertain way and of their benefits.
Reporter David Tanner reporting from Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on COVID-19's impact on Myanmar's economy. All right, we'll carry on with the next report here on Myanmar Today. Everflow River Group Public Company received the permission to become a 6th listed company of Yangon stock and first for logistics sector on the 28th of February 2020 and will begin to trade its shares in the market on the 20th of March. David Henry will tell us more.
As the 6th listed company and the first logistic company to be on Yangon Stock Exchange, Everflow River Group Public Company Limited, EFR, has got the permission to become a listed company on Yangon Stock Exchange, YSX, on 28th February in 2020 and will begin to trade its shares on the market on 20 March in 2020. The measures to list will be taken in accordance with Section 41C of the Securities Exchange Law and Section 7 and 8 of the Securities Listing Business Regulations. It is also noted that the base price of EFR will be announced on the website on 19 March, one business day prior to the listing date, as per notice from the YSX. With that said, U Almehan, Chief Executive Officer of Everflow River Group, told MI Radio the reason for why EFR was decided to be listed on YSX.
The reason decided to list it on Yangon Stock Exchange is our EFR company is the integrated logistics service company. So we have several business unit doing several kind of logistic services, and at the same time, according to our country, we need a lot of infrastructure, logistic infrastructure around the country, and in this regards, we believe we have already invested quite a lot over a few years ago in Yangon and Mandalay project, but anyhow, we still require more fund to raise other area projects, especially in the border area. So this is very crucial for the development of the logistic industry. By doing so, if our logistic industry will be more stronger and the efficiency of the logistic service will be getting stronger, which will enable to our traders and businessmen, Myanmar businessmen, to compete in international market more competitively.
U Almehan also told why he would like to encourage other local public companies to work on to be listed on Yangon Stock Exchange as well.
Hopefully, I will also like to encourage other company to join Yangon Stock Exchange to raise the fund, and it's really brilliant, wonderful experience throughout the process. The process will make you more stronger, more systematic. You understand more on the capital market, and you can see more bigger, better opportunities.
With the sixth company being listed on Yangon Stock Exchange, Utatun U, YSX Executive Senior Manager, also told MI Radio the good news of YSX ascending on the trades.
Compared to the 2018, the 2019 seems to increase about 50% on trade. In 2018, it was only about 14 billion jets worth of shares already traded. But in 2019, it increased to about 21 billion jets. Likewise, we can see the increases when we inspect the trade volume in January and February in 2020. I think it is because people seem to pay attention to the market and the increase in traders. As there is the new company listed on YXX and the increase on the trading frequency, as well as with the opening of foreigner participations very soon, we could hope for great things for YSX in 2020 and afterwards.
With that said, Utatun U explained the changes in the number of matching times on the YSX and how it could impact the trading volume as well.
To boost trading, YSX has doubled its stock trade matching time from 2 to 4 per day, and now to provide more investment opportunities to investors, YSX will introduce the 7-time matching per day starting from 26 March 2020, subject to approval from SCCM regarding regulations changes. This will allow traders to make changes 7 times a day and will help improve fluidity of the trades, which will also help increase in trade volume. After these 7 times a day changes, we will be looking to make real-time trading system for YSX in next 3 or 4 years.
Reporter David Tanner reporting from Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on the approval of the 6th listed company on the Yangon Stock Exchange. Now let's have a look at the currency rates from Myanmar Central Bank and the Stock Exchange. $1 is at 1,370 jats. 1 Chinese renminbi is at 200 jats. 1 euro is at 1,545 jats. 1 pound sterling is at 1,777 jats. 1 Singapore dollar is at 992 jats. 1 Malaysian ringgit is at 328 jats. 1 Thai baht is at 43 jats, and the Indian rupee is at 18 jats. Gold is trading at $1,675. Silver is at $17. And Brent crude oil is at $28. On the Yangon Stock Exchange, FMI went up 500 and it's at 12,000. MTSH is at 3,950. MCB is at 8,400. FPB is down 500 at 22,000. TMH went down 50 and it's at 2,850. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. The French Institute and the French Embassy, in partnership with the European Union, celebrated the Women's Rights Week from the 3rd to the 6th of March. The week was comprised of various activities: film screening, poster exhibition, panel discussion, live podcast recordings, and live performances. It is aimed to promote women's rights and find a solution to current issues women are facing within Myanmar. DJ Zin will tell us more.
In order to promote women's rights and explore the current issues women are facing in Myanmar, the French Institute and the French Embassy, in partnership with the European Union, organized the Women's Rights Week for the 2nd edition as part of the multidisciplinary cultural events. The week comprised of various activities: film screening, poster exhibition, panel discussion, live podcast recording, and live performances. All these activities of the celebrating week took place at the French Institute from 3rd to 6th March.
I think there is many reasons. The first one is to understand what is going on in Myanmar. The second element, of course, is how to develop a new approach, a new policy of cooperation. It's not only 1 week in the year. We try to define a benchmark during the year, even to explore other aspects of this women's right.
On Tuesday, a French movie called Let the Girls Play, which is about the very first all-female soccer team in France, was screened outdoors. On the second day of the active week, the official opening of poster exhibition, My Feminism Upon Your Walls, was held, and it was run until the last day.
We organized a specific meeting about the feminism, how it is expressed through poster. That's why we will organize in the coming minutes this specific exhibition. We show the expression of feminism around the world, including in Myanmar.
Also on the second day, there was a live podcast recording by Mananda, a feminist activist, with a special guest, Women Then, a social influencer.
Today, the podcast theme is going to be about consent, which is like specifically physical and sexual consent. And we'll be talking basically about the culture of Myanmar, how we see and understand consent. So I think we cannot just change one set in all those categories. We have to challenge in social barrier, economic barrier, political barriers, and financial barrier in every way.
For the third day, there was a panel discussion about women in 2020 elections. On the last day, live music and visual performances were also presented by international and Myanmar female artists. For the Women's Rights Week, the French Institute and the French Embassy was closely working with other active NGOs supporting women's rights within the country.
France is in solidarity with the Myanmar society. The place of women in the economy and in politics, an element of the long-term development, and France is a partner of this partnership on a long term. And of course, we have to define in common the priority and the implementations.
Since 2012, the French Institute has provided us a safe place to organize our campaign of striving for women's rights. This year, they are using our poster of 2014 as the main theme poster of the activities. I'm glad that there are many activities for women's rights, but it needs to be genuine. I value and believe in the change individually. We have to change the wrong perspectives and assumptions of women as well as men. We have to completely change the wrong attitude and concept of the role of women. Only individual change can build sustainability.
In the modern century, the demand for the gender equality highly spread in all around the world. It is accepted to enhance the role of the women and to provide them with all the rights as human beings. Many voices of girls and women are raised up, and men are also getting participated.
Believe in yourself and do not let the culture or social norms define you. Be who you are with the fullest capacity that you can.
This is Dora Susan reporting from MI Radio.
That's a report on the French Institute and the French Embassy's celebration for Women's Rights Week. Now, as the world battle against the deadly coronavirus, many countries have been affected and are trying to contain it from further spreading. In light of that, we will go to Mr. Xu Qingduo, a senior journalist of China Media Group, to take a look at this COVID-19's impact on China's education. So, Mr. Xu, how is the government of China managing to help the education sector during the epidemic?
So the government policy has been that schools may be closed, but schooling will continue. So online classes has become the natural choice for the Chinese schools, from the primary schools to the colleges and the universities here. And because of the strong infrastructure in terms of the internet, so it's not that difficult thing to turn the classes to online from the real classrooms. Of course, it is not like a free of a problem. For example, in some remote area or mountainous area, the signal could be a bit weak. And of course, if you have, if there's like 2 kids or 3 kids, the family would find it hard to accommodate the need of all the kids. If you only have one desktop or laptop, so all the kids will go to school basically at the same time. So, and also there are other issues like the 4G service. If there's no Wi-Fi, that could be too expensive for the parents. But the government policy is, they want to ensure every case in every city. So the governments, local governments will do all they can to help the families who are in need of help, technology help, or simply financial help from the government side.
All right, so how is online learning or classroom learning going there?
Well, currently there are 200 million Chinese students joining these online classes. It is a new lifestyle for the students, for the teachers, and for the parents. Well, for the students, there are some challenges, let's say, because you are basically staring at the screen the whole day and every day from Monday to Friday. So that's a lot of challenge. For example, it's very difficult to have education, physical education. It's impossible to play soccer or basketball online, right? And of course, spending the whole day sitting in front of the screen is a challenge, is a physical challenge for the young kids. And, after a couple of weeks of online classes, they would complain, and when can we go back to school? When can I go out to have some fun? That's some challenge for the kids. And for some teacher, of course, it is some of them would find it this is a new thing for them to speak to students looking at the screen instead of in an environment which is a classroom, which is more familiar to them. And for parents, of course, since the businesses are returning to normal, parents are going back to work, and then there is a challenge of how and who will take care of the kids staying at school, joining these online classes. That is a challenge. Some of the families would find it a bit hard to cope with. But in general, it is producing the desired result for the kids, for the school, and for the teachers. Because of the, I would say there are apps, educational apps or video conference apps here in China. They're ready to use. They're sophisticated enough for the teachers to manage the classes.
Right. What is the overall impact on the education sector?
Well, as for the impact on education, I would say it's mixed. For those education agencies, which offers extracurriculum and offline training services, would find it that they are the hardest hit businesses. If they don't have a strong cash flow, they would find it struggling basically to survive. Actually, they can either apply for actual loans from the banks or to I would say provide diversify their services.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Xu, for all the information we need. That was Mrs. Xu Qingtuo, a senior journalist from China Media Group. Well, that's all we have for today's reports. Let's move on to international news here on Myanmar Today. The number of cases of COVID-19 is on the rise in the United States, but so too is the misinformation surrounding the virus. Let's take a look at this video for more on that.
The number of cases of COVID-19 is on the rise in the United States, but so too is misinformation surrounding the virus. This photo, published in a number of tabloid newspapers, purported to show evidence of corpse burning in Wuhan, China, and a cover-up by the Chinese government. Except that wasn't true at all. The images used were simply forecasts based on weather patterns, leading some of the newspapers to retract the stories. There are also claims that COVID-19 was an artificially produced bioweapon by the Chinese government. Also not true. That rumour led to a move by 27 prominent scientists signing a statement of support for their Chinese colleagues and dismissing the claims.
Everything from it's actually was an experiment gone wrong by the Chinese government to it was actually an experiment gone wrong by the US government.
Nathan Walter is an assistant professor at the Department of Communication Studies at Northwestern University.
So as soon as the misinformation is out there, trying to correct it is almost a lost cause. And just because the misinformation piece is so much more attractive, so much more viral, so much more interesting than the dry facts.
The US State Department reports that thousands of fake social media accounts have been set up to promote the conspiracies.
The misinformation that is posted about COVID-19 has very real consequences. Since the outbreak, reports of discrimination against Chinese Americans and Asians as a whole are way up, with some reporting physical abuse.
Despite efforts by authorities, businesses in Chicago's Chinatown have struggled since the outbreak began. Some report a drop of some 50 to 60% in revenues. Dr. Kim T is a prominent community figure in Chicago's Chinatown.
Unfortunately, the COVID virus affecting severely in the Chicago Chinatown that turned into a ghost town. So I think people with the hysteria and all the xenophobia, they're creating all these chaotic situation.
So I'm reading this and I'm reading everything that you bring to our country.
This video shows a man's racist rant about coronavirus and Chinese people on a subway train. It was aimed at a Thai American.
Obviously, this outbreak is not happening in a vacuum. So there's already xenophobia, and there's already people with negative attitude toward other nationalities or other people. And then when you have this event, from their perspective, it's very tempting just to use it as a weapon against the people that they already dislike.
An old saying goes, a lie can get halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on. As relevant today as ever. Dan Williams, CGTN, Chicago.
Despite the spreading virus, Tokyo Olympics organizers decided to hold a test event. The recent outbreak of the coronavirus has forced them to rearrange or postpone several events, but they allowed a sport climbing event on Friday with a few restrictions. No fans and no top athletes. Instead, amateur climbers got the chance to test the climbing facilities first. The Ready Steady Tokyo climbing event on March 6th was held at Aomi Urban Sports Park in Tokyo. Organizers said they have reminded people to properly wash hands as one of the multiple measures to prevent the spread of the virus. In other news, after Turkey decided last month to open its gates for migrants and refugees to travel through and into the European Union. Thousands of people with different backgrounds have rushed to the Turkish-Greek border. Thousands have come to Aydın, not far from the Greek border. They have gathered at a bus station in the last few days, saying it's safer than the border buffer zone in Bazakule, Turkey, where they have seen clashes and tear gas. Many are families with children, but they are now being forced to leave this area and return to the buffer zone. The Turkish government has provided buses to take the refugees to Bazakule.
Ben buraya geliyorum, mecbur geliyor. Burada vatandaşlık yok, ilacı yok. Hangi zaman hastaneye geliyorum o zaman söyletsen yabancı ve vatandaşlık var, o zaman söylemiyorum vatandaşlık yok abi. O zaman mecbur Avrupa'da geliyorum.
Orada okumayı seviyorum. Yani okumaya çalışacağım. Bir de öğretmen olacağım.
And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Henry Zin. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.